Hello guys, hope you're all doing well. As always, welcome back to another video. I'm going to start this one off with a plea because every week I ask people to comment their predictions. It's getting embarrassing now. So please comment down below what you think the predictions are going to be for next week, because I keep asking and it's getting to the point now where it's making me sad. So help a guy out, you know, make me feel good about myself. Please. Right guys, so I finished recording the video and I've just realised that I completely forgot to talk about last week's predictions. Probably just as well that I did because I had an absolute stinker. This is the worst score that I've done since I've started this. I got 15 points out of 50. I had an absolute mare. Obviously, I don't think a lot of people would have seen the Palace Spurs result coming. I chucked in a couple of draws that weren't draws, and I mean, ultimately, you can see for yourself, I've had an absolute mare. But hopefully this week, as you will soon see, I will hopefully do better this time round. Make sure you guys like as well and subscribe so you don't miss another video. I'm going to keep these videos coming out every week. Going up to Stamford Bridge as well to see Chelsea next week take on Aston Villa in the Cup, so you don't want to miss that vlog. It's going to be a great game. It's going to pop off. Be there. Right, anyway, moving on with the video, we're going to get into the first game of the Premier League weekend. I'm going to be doing my predictions as always. You know the drill. Starting off, we have got Newcastle at home to Leeds. Now, this is quite an interesting fixture because both teams haven't really started the season off as they would have quite liked to. Both teams yet to pick up a win in the league so far this season. Newcastle only picking up 1 point and Leeds on 2 points. So this game is really up for the taking in terms of kick-starting either side's season. Leeds actually won both of their games against Newcastle last year, home and away, so that holds them in good stead for this fixture, but they've lacked the clinical finish that they need to kind of see out these games. Both draws with Everton and Burnley, they so could have won, but they didn't quite have that clinical edge. Newcastle, on the other hand, have looked okay, but again, they just don't really seem to be intimidating enough to look like they can take the 3 points in the games that they've played so far. For me, though, I think this has got a Leeds win written all over it. I'm going to go for 2-1 to Leeds. Moving on to the early kickoff on Saturday, and we've got Wolves at home to Brentford. Now, this is the first ever meeting between these two teams, and it should be a tasty fixture. Wolves managed to pick up their first win of the season, whereas Brentford have been defying expectations despite the loss in their last game. Brentford will feel hard done by losing in the last minute in their last game against Brighton with that Trossard strike. So they're going to be coming into this game hoping to make amends for that and keep up the good form that they've shown in the Premier League so far. Wolves, on the other hand, have dominated every game that they've played in so far and finally managed to pick up their first win of the season against Watford. I think they're going to do the same thing again. I think it's going to be a close game and I'm going to go for 2-1 to Wolves. Up next now, we've got the first of the 3 o'clock kickoffs, and we've got Burnley at home to Arsenal. Two sides that have struggled to perform again so far this season. In their last game, obviously Arsenal managed to beat Norwich, which is expected, but with the season that they've had, it's a good result for them. Burnley, on the other hand, are yet to pick up a win in their game so far this season and only picked up 1 point, which was against Leeds. I think this is going to be a game that's closer than people think. I'm going to go for 1-1. I reckon that Burnley are going to be frustrating to play against for Arsenal, as they always are at Turf Moor. And I think that with the form that Arsenal have been showing going forward, I think that they're going to struggle to break them down. I think they're going to score, but they've also been leaky at the back, which is why I'm going for a draw. And up next, we've got a fixture that always proves to show goal after goal after goal. We've got Liverpool at home to Crystal Palace. Now, Palace were a bit of a bogey team for Liverpool in the recent years, but in their last 5 meetings, Liverpool have won all 5, including a 7-0 victory last season. Obviously, they're unbeaten in the first 5 games, but Palace are actually unbeaten in their last 3. They managed to pick up an emphatic win against Spurs in their last game, but I don't quite think that they're going to have the minerals to do it in this match. That is why I'm going to go for a 4-0 win to Liverpool. I think it's going to be a game that has goals in. Their confidence is going to be high, but I don't think it's going to be enough to see off the mighty Liverpool. Up next now, we've got Manchester City taking on Southampton. Now, Pep has obviously said this week that he wants the Manchester City fans to rally at the Etihad and cheer on their tired players against this Southampton side, which is quite embarrassing, let's face it. You've arguably got the best squad in the league and you're begging your fans to come to the stadium. It's not really a great look, is it? But nevertheless, they've won all of their games so far this season, barring that opening game against Tottenham, and they've looked good in every game that they've played. Obviously leaky at the back against Leipzig midweek, but I don't think that's going to be the case against Southampton. A Southampton side who, by the way, are winless, drawing their last 3. I think it's going to be a Man City win. I can't see it going any other way. I'm going to go for 4-0 to Manchester City. I think they're going to run riot at the Etihad. Up next, we've got a bit of a tasty fixture here. We've got the 2 promoted sides in Norwich City taking on Watford. Now, despite arguably walking the league for Norwich last season, Watford actually won both of their games against Norwich last season, home and away. In fact, in their last season in the Premier League, Watford did the double against them as well. So their recent history against each other is very in favour of a Watford win. Watford have also arguably looked the better promoted side since they've come up, which is making me kind of lean towards a Watford win. In fact, I'm going to go for a Watford win. I'm going to go 3-1 to Watford away from home. I think they're going to upset the Carrow Road fans. I'm going for a Watford win. Now, the late kickoff on Saturday, we've got Aston Villa at home to Everton. Another tasty fixture, two good squads coming together, and I think it's going to be a very good game. Difficult to predict because Aston Villa obviously look very good. Lost against Chelsea obviously in the last game 3-0, but watching the game, it wasn't really a 3-0 performance. They didn't perform badly by any means. Chelsea were just far too clinical. And when you look at Everton, they've had a really fantastic start to the season. Unbeaten, 1-3 and drawn 1, I think is a solid start for Rafa Benitez. In the last 4 games, Aston Villa have won 2, the others being draws, and I do believe that Aston Villa could potentially upset the odds arguably in beating Everton. It's a really tricky game to predict, but I think that the absence of Dominic Calvert-Lewin is really going to hurt Everton, and I'm kind of leaning towards an Aston Villa win here. Do you know what? I can't actually pick the two sides apart. I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw. I think it's going to be too closely contested that I don't quite see a winner out of the two teams, hence why I'm going for a 1-1 draw. Now we move on to the Sunday games, and we've got Brighton at home to Leicester. In the first 4 games of the season, Brighton have won 3 and lost 1, which is a brilliant start for them. The fact that they lost against Everton, who are a side in such good form, is not a bad result for them. Leicester, on the other hand, have had a bit of a mixed start to the season. They've won 2, lost 2, losing against Man City and obviously West Ham, so they've got some improving to do for sure. I do think that Leicester have got a bit too much for Brighton, but Brighton have the ability to frustrate them with the way that Graham Potter sets them up. This is another one that's really hard to predict. Part of me wants to say a Leicester win, but I can't quite pick these two teams apart. If Maupay's firing on the day and Vardy's firing on the day, we could potentially see goals. However, I'm going to go for another 1-1 draw. I think it's too difficult to pick these two teams apart. Might be a bit of a controversial decision based on the fact that people are obviously going to be favouring Leicester in this fixture, but I believe in Brighton and I do believe that they can hold on for a draw. The next 2 o'clock kickoff we're going to talk about is West Ham at home to Manchester United, and this has got potential to be a really flavoursome fixture. Both teams are unbeaten in the Premier League so far this season. West Ham defying expectations in every game that they play in, absolutely blowing the teams away. Manchester United also having a brilliant start to the season, especially with that addition of Ronaldo, but I think that midweek loss to the Champions League against Young Boys is really going to hurt them. It's going to make them more hungry to pick up a result here and add a little bit more spice to this fixture. I think West Ham playing on a Thursday night with such a small squad is going to add a little extra fatigue, so I'm going to go for a Manchester United win here. In fact, I'm going to say it's going to be quite a big win. I'm going to go for a 3-1 win to Manchester United. Sorry West Ham fans, but I think that when you've got such a small squad competing on a Thursday night and then expecting to be fit enough to play on a Sunday is going to hurt you guys. I don't think it's going to be a bad performance, but I think that when you've got the players that Manchester United have, your Greenwood, your Ronaldo, your Bruno Fernandes, I think they're going to be so clinical, and especially after the upset midweek, I think that they're going to win. I think it's going to be emphatic, which is why I've gone for 3-1 to Manchester United. Right guys, just want to take this moment to say if you've liked the video so far, please make sure you drop it a like. As I said at the beginning of the video, please comment predictions. Then I can shout you out. You're going to be on YouTube. You're not famous because I'm, you know, scraping the barrel with views on these, but it's cool. You can show your mum and dad. They might like it, or they might just tell you to get a life, which is what my parents are doing. Anyway, moving on now, we have got the last game of the weekend and we've got a brilliant fixture. We've got a London derby. We've got Tottenham versus Chelsea. My team taking on my mum's team. So it's going to be a very quiet house depending on the result. Tottenham obviously picked up their first 3 wins of the season with 1-0 consecutive wins. Lost their last game though against Crystal Palace, which I think is going to hurt them. Chelsea have also looked brilliant so far this season, unbeaten and second in the league. Now one thing to note with derbies is you kind of got to take form on previous meetings with a pinch of salt, because on the day is what matters. And when derbies take place, as we saw with Tottenham against Crystal Palace, tempers can flare and things can happen that will ultimately change the game. To contradict that, one thing that is worth mentioning is in our last 5 games, Chelsea have actually won 4 and drawn 1 against Tottenham, which holds us in very good stead. And with how clinical Chelsea have been this season, obviously I vlogged the match against Zenit and we were the better side, but we struggled to look that clinical in front of goal, but we still managed to get the win. Results like that and performances like that really say a lot, whereas when you look at Tottenham, in all of their games, they haven't really been the favourite side, but they've managed to win, which again adds a little bit of spice to this match. Chelsea are going to dominate this game, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to win. However, I do think that with how well we've been playing, I can't see a way where Tottenham are going to cancel us out and get a win. So I'm going to go for a 2-0 win to Tottenham. which is why I'm going to go for a 2-0 win to Chelsea, not Tottenham. I think that Tottenham are going to struggle. It's going to be interesting to see how well they bounce back after that defeat, how well Nuno sets them up, whether they're going to be able to get a decent result. But ultimately, I think Chelsea are going to be way too clinical. I can't see Tottenham getting anything out of this, and I think that it's going to be a win for Chelsea. Right, guys, that is it. So thank you very much, as always, for watching. Comment down below your predictions. Please like, subscribe, stay tuned for the next one. Take care. Peace and love.